All right, Teresa, you may start, please.
Okay, so I can start with the lesson, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you once again for joining us and being patient with us. Um, as I said yesterday, we will continue with um, doing revision. Okay. So today we will look at 3D shapes. All right. We'll look at 3D shapes and some of the 2D shapes. All right. So by the end of this lesson, one should be able to know the properties of three-dimensional objects and the difference between 3D objects that are prisms and those that are anti-prisms. Okay. All right. A prism is a type of three-dimensional shape with flat sides. Okay. It has two ends that are the same shape and size. So it should be the same shape and size and look like a 2D shape. Okay. It has the same cross-sectional all along the shape from end to end, right? That means if you cut through, you should be able to see the same 2D shape on either end, right? So previously we had made an example of a loaf of bread, right? So if you have a loaf of bread that is unsliced, so when you cut the loaf of bread in half, it should reflect, right, the same 2D shape on either end, right? And then you cut the other half again, the same thing should happen. So that is what a three-dimensional shape, or rather a prism, that is a three-dimensional shape should be like. Okay, it should give you the same 2D shape on either end. All right, so here we have an example. If you're looking at the screen, we have an example of a rectangular prism, right? This is the length, and here this is called the width, and here the height, sorry about that. And this line here represents the height of the 3D shape, right? A 3D object is called 3D because it has three dimensions, which is the length, the width, and height, right? All right, so apart from a cube and a cuboid, if you know the name of a polygon or 2D shape on the end of the prism, it is easy to work out the name of the prism, right? For example, you have your triangle, then that would be a triangular prism. Then if you are able to notice two sides have the pentagon shape, then that would be pentagonal prism. All right, so here are some of the 2D shapes. We have a circle, a triangle, square. Circle, there's only one side because it is just one line that goes round, so that's just one side. It's a circle and it's a 2D shape, right? And then the triangle has three sides, right? There's three sides and three corners. For a square, there's three sides. A rectangle, there's three sides. Pentagon has five sides. Hexagon has six sides. Heptagon has seven sides. Octagon, eight. Nonagon, nine. And decagon has got 10. All right, and here below we have 3D shapes. We have a sphere, we have a prism, we have a cuboid, we have a cube, we have a cylinder, we have a pyramid, and we have a cone. These are all three-dimensional shapes, right? Because we have said previously they have the width, the height, and the length. Okay. All right. So here are the possible misconceptions. Right. Something that might be untrue, right? That's what misconception means. Misconception means it might not be true, all right? The fact that people think all prisms are rectangular prisms, that's a misconception, okay? Ask whether all four objects are prisms, right? All four objects are prisms. Okay, all right, they are. Then let me see if I have a picture. Okay, no, I don't have a picture. All right, an object can be prism but not a rectangular prism, which is true, right? And then a cube is not a prism. That's a misconception. So the true thing is that a cube is a prism, right? It is a special kind of a prism which has the faces, or rather all the faces are square, right? A cube is a prism and all the faces, they look the same and are squares, right? Right? Can all the faces of any prism that is not a cube be identical? Can we answer that question? Can all the faces of any prism that is not a cube be identical? If we can get someone just to answer that question. Anyone who has any idea if all the faces of any prism that is not a cube, if they can be identical? All right, let me give you an answer. I hope we do have access to chat box. Right, let me give you an answer to that. Yes, the triangular prism, right? There is what is called a triangular prism. Okay. All right, so here is an exercise. I hope we have access to chat box. So here's an exercise for us. We are going to match the description with the objects shown below, right? This is question 1. It has 3 questions. We are going to match the description with the objects shown below, meaning these objects here, A, B, C, D, E, F. All right, so the first description says, the object has 6 faces. All faces are the same shape and size. So what are we referring to? What are we referring to? All the faces are the same shape and size. Which object are we referring to? Looking at A, B, C, D, E, and F. If we can just write on the chat box, which one are we referring to? All right, I'm not picking up anything. Right, so I will answer that question. It is D, right? The object has got 6 faces. So here we have a cube, right? And a cube has got 6 faces. It is 1, 2, that's there at the back, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So that's 6, and all the faces are the same and the shape is the same. So for A, the answer is D. All right. So the second description says the object has 5 faces, 2 opposite faces of triangles that are the same shape and size. All right. It says the object has got 5 faces. Let's look at A. All right, A has got how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces. All right, and the 2 opposite faces are triangles. And here's one triangle, and there's another triangle, and they are opposite faces. All right, so A is the perfect match for B, right? So we have C, the object has 7 faces, right? The object has got 7 faces. 5 of the faces are rectangles and that are the same shape and size. Are we still not able to use the chat box? Because I would like us to interact. And I'd like us to answer these questions because they are meant for us participants to be able to interact. Okay, sorry about that. So B, or rather, sorry, C, we are now with C. So the correct answer for that one is C because I'm not seeing anyone writing anything. Or I don't have access to chat box. I don't know what's happening. But the answer for that one is C. Okay, the answer for 1C is C because here we have a pentagonal prism. We have a pentagonal prism. Why are we saying it's a pentagonal prism? Because the two ends, which is this end here and that one there, those two ends have got 2D shapes that are pentagons. So it is a pentagonal prism and it has got rectangles which are other faces. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Right, so that makes it 7 faces. All right, so that's why we are saying C is a match for C. All right, now we move on to question 2. Which two objects in question 1 are not prisms? Which two objects in question 1 are not prisms? All right, we have A, we have B, we have C, D, we have E, and F. So which two objects in question 1 are not prisms? All right, I don't know if you are able to use the chat box or not. Okay, so looking at B, B is a pyramid and F is a pyramid. All right, so these two are not prisms because they are pyramids. Right, they are pyramids, they are not prisms. So it will be B and F. Right, so which objects in question 1 are not rectangular prisms? Which objects in question 1 are not rectangular prisms? So which objects in here, A, B, C, D, E, or F, which are not rectangular prisms? I would have loved to hear answers of these questions because I made the questions obviously and I would know the answers, but I would have loved. All right, can we take the hand? Yes, Genesis?
Ma'am, we are using
Yes?
the chat box, but you can't see that we are using the chat box.
Also, you are answering on the chat box.
Yes.
Okay, so yes. Okay, now I can see it. Thank you so much. Now I can see the answers. All right, I see A B C F, A B C F, A B C F. So which question was this one? Okay, I see Atengosi saying D and C, D. Okay, which question are we answering now? We're answering question 2, where we said which two objects in question 1 are not prisms, of which I answered that. And I said B and F, right? Because now I am able to see the chat box. All right, so for B, which objects in question 1 are not rectangular prisms? Okay, 2B, all right, 2B. It's C, D, and F. C, D, and F. Okay, one is saying C, D, and F. One is saying A, B, C, D, F. So only E is a rectangular prism. Okay, remember we said we are able to name the prisms because of the two ends, right? So we look at the two ends. So for question one, right? Question one already eliminated two objects for us because the question was which two objects in question one are not prisms, and I gave the answer which was B and F. So B and F, they are out, right? So now we're looking at B. Which objects in question one are not rectangular prisms? So we're not going to include B and F because we already know that those two are not prisms. So we should focus on A, C, D, and E, right? I'll focus on A, C, D, and E. Okay, so now what do we know about prisms, right? For us to be able to know what type of a prism it is, we look at the two ends. What type of a 2D shape do we see? What type of a 2D shape do we see, right? So then that should be able to tell us, okay, this is a type of a prism according to the 2D shapes that we see on either end. All right, so one is saying it's A, C, D. So you're saying these are not a rectangular prism. A, C, and D. All right, can we have anyone else answering the question A, C, and D? Some are saying B, C, F. Some are saying C, A, F, C, A, F. A, C, D. Okay, A, C, and D. A, C, and D, A, C, and D. A, C, D. A is a triangular prism, C is a pentagonal prism, right? And D is a special kind of a prism, which is a cube. So A, C, D are correct, okay? A, C, D are correct. E is the rectangular prism, all right? So let's move on to the next slide. All right, here we're going to match. We won't be able to draw a line, right? We won't be able to draw a line, but what we will do, we'll match the 3D object with a 2D object. So you just say the name of the two objects that match, right? So you match 3D object with the 2D object. Okay. Okay, I have 4 people raising their hands. Cube square, right? That's correct. Cube square. That's the first one. That is correct. And then rectangular prism and rectangle. That's correct. Rectangular prism and rectangle. All right. Yes, we said the cube matches the square, and then we said the rectangular prism matches the rectangle. All right, let's move to the triangular one. Can we not skip the objects? Can we not skip? Can we go from the cube to the rectangular prism? So which one do we match the triangular prism with? Triangular prism with the triangle. Yes, that's correct. Thank you, Shakira Matodi. And Atengosi, thank you so much. Let's move to hexagonal prism. Can we match the hexagonal prism? hexagonal prism with the hexagon, right? Hexagonal prism with the hexagon. Thank you. And then the last one. Okay, I think this class is also going to end soon. The last one, we have a sphere. We have a sphere. All right. Shakira says a sphere with a circle. Atlori, Talia, and Letokushe, they all agree, which is correct. All right. So we were able to match cube with a square, rectangular prism with a rectangle, triangular prism with a triangle, hexagonal prism with the hexagon, and a sphere with the with the circle. Thank you so much. All right, let's move on to our next slide. All right, so we're looking at this one. Which object is not a prism, and explain why? Remember on our first slide, we did explain what a prism looks like, right? So here we're going to identify, we have A, B, C, D, and E. So you're just going to choose one, and we explain why that type of an object is not a prism, right? You say it is A, and you say why you're saying it is A. If it's B, why it is B. Sorry about that. Okay, I see B, 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 D. C is not a prism. Right, when you give your answer, okay, D, the opposite rectangular sides are not the same. D, 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 something B. All right, I see one says C, and then there's one that says E because the opposite is not equal. Opposite is not equal, right? E, and then there's D. All right. E because the opposite is not equal. Thank you. Yes, E is correct. And D also. All right. Let me see. One is saying C. Yes, C also. C is correct. D is correct. And E is correct because there's two opposite ends that are not equal, right? Right, and Joel says because the opposite sides are not made from a 2D shape. 2D shape is not the same from the either ends because it does not have the same length, width, and height and are not the same. Thank you so much. All right, all the answers given for C, D, and E are correct. Thank you. Let us move to our next slide, which might be our last slide. I think this is our last slide. All right, so here we're going to learn the figure 2D name and a 3D name, right? Going to learn the figure, which is how many sides a 2D has and what type of a 2D, and if it is a 3D, what type of a 3D it would be, right? So a figure has 3 sides, and that is a triangle, and a 3D name would be a triangular prism. So 4 sides, it is either a square or a rectangle. So the name would be, for 3D would be a cube if it is a square shaped. If it is a rectangle shape, it would be a cuboid, right? And those have 4 sides. And then if it has 5 sides, then that is a pentagon 2D shape. And then if it is a 3D, the name would be pentagonal prism. 6 sides, that would be hexagon. Hexagon has 6 sides and would be hexagonal prism. pentagon has got 7 sides, then it would be pentagonal prism. Octagon has got 8 sides, hence the name octagon. Then it would be octagonal prism. Nonagon has got 9 sides, nonagonal prism. A decagon has got 10 sides, then it would be decagonal prism. Alright, so yes, that was the end. And basically this was the revision. It is something that we had done, right, previously. And so for those who were not here with us when we done it, so this was what we did for 2D and 3D shapes. Right, so what is it that we learned today about? It was prisms and three-dimensional objects. So we must remember that a prism is a three-dimensional shape that has identical and parallel ends. And those ends, and the faces must be flat. Okay, so the face of a prism is a 2D shape. Face of a prism is a 2D shape. So that's what you take away with you. All right, so I did give this homework previously. I'm going to give it again. Okay, so this is what we do. You get yourself a flat paper. Get yourself a flat paper and draw what you see on the left-hand side, right? Match each net to its prism name and 3D representation, right? So these are given, they're not okay. So for example, here you see the net, right? The first net is matched with the cube, but the rest of them are not matched. The second net is not a cuboid, so you have to find out which one it matches with. Hence I'm saying you get yourself a flat paper, you draw, right? You draw this type of net, and then you make the 3D shape. You make the 3D representation, then you'll be able to say, oh, okay, so this one represents this one. This one represents that one. Also, the side of the 2D shape should be able to give away which one is a representation of the 3D after you have completed your net. Okay, so this is going to be your homework. All right. So I hope this lesson was fruitful again. So please do come again on Monday. This was my last day with you guys. This was my last day with you. I have had so much fun with you. Hopefully you have learned up until this far since we started in April, the second week of April. So yes, you have a new tutor or a new teacher by Monday. So do enjoy the rest of your day and please stay safe and stay well. So that's it from me. This is the end of our lesson. Bye. I will miss you. I will definitely miss you. But I will watch your interactions with your new teacher whenever I have time. I will miss you and I love you. So yes, bye. That's the end of this